Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, Mr. and Lady viewing at home, it's Kinetic Aesthetic time. It's your boy Germ, and you already know what it is. It's Friday, so number one, I hope that you have had a great week, and I hope that your weekend is starting off amazing. Now, without further ado, we ain't got no script for this one. We got no central topic. I got a couple of things on my brain that I wanted to just speak on and talk about. So we're gonna do that. We're gonna jump ahead into it right now. First things first, I want to talk about the singer David. I made an episode on him about a year ago. I'm going to leave a link in the description if you haven't seen it already. You definitely should go check it out. But David has finally been arrested for the murder of Celeste Rivas, the 14-year-old that he was involved in with his sick ass. He apparently met her when he was 11 and then groomed her into a relationship. It started to get threatening to his career, as we're going to get into, and so he decided to eliminate her. And yeah, he's finally been found for it. They got some evidence, and they, after a year of investigating, they crossed their T's and they dotted their I's, and now they've got him in handcuffs. He's arrested. Hooray for the police. This is honestly one of the few times where you're going to hear me say this. Yay for 12, because this sick-ass nigga is finally off the streets. Now, I'm not going to get into many details of the investigation or how things got to the point they did. I'm only going to try to touch on, like I said, I already did an episode that covered a lot of it, so I'm going to leave that description. But in terms of evidence that has recently been discovered or has come out since that episode, the main points of discovery have been that, number one, he led her to his home. That was on the day of her murder, what led up to it. She was getting fed up with the relationship because not only were they just hanging out and just having a lot of sex, hint, I mean, big surprise, that's exactly what a pedophile is looking to do with a young child. He apparently was seeing other women on top of it. I don't know if these were women that were of age or if they were younger women like Celeste, but he was seeing other women. She was bothered by this. So I think this was the main point that had led her to, threaten, hey, I can go and I can expose you to people for all this weirdo shit that you're doing just by having a relationship with me. And so this motherfucker is saying this is a threat to his whole career. Like I said, lured her over to his house. After she got there, he stabbed her. He stabbed her to death and watched her bleed out. It's as evil as it sounds. The man goes online, decides to buy 2 chainsaws and a cremation oven, get them delivered to his house, and this was the method that he attempted to use to dispose of her body. This nigga's evil. He's sick. This is real callous. And the part that I will never be able to get over or just comprehend just how evil it is that after he was done chopping her up, he didn't even really dispose of her all the way. He decides to go on tour, so he leaves her in the back of his fucking Tesla and just leaves it to the point where motherfuckers are eventually able to just smell that smell of a rotting, decomposing corpse, and they have to call the police. So I'm thankful on one hand that he is an idiot who just didn't know how to do this crime properly and dispose of the body. But again, this is just tragic. This is a girl who was murdered, who was butchered before she even had a chance to really begin her life. And it was all because this sick ass bastard decided that his career was more important than her life. And fuck David, fuck anybody that was aware of this relationship, because it's clear at this point that there has to have been some people who had seen her around. Like I said, there were videos. He was not hiding it. His whole Discord was somewhat aware that there was a woman named Celeste in his life. I don't think they knew about her being 14 or things of that nature yet. Like I said, there's pictures of her friends who were, and I know I just said fuck anyone who was involved or who knew, but I'm not gonna hold those kids too accountable. Those are young kids. They don't really know. But yeah, this has just been a tragic. This has been a case of anybody really protecting this young woman from this monster. And I know that it is in the predator playbook to isolate their victims, or any real abuser, to isolate their victims from people who would care about them or who would help them through situations. We see this with domestic violence situations as well. But from I'm only going based off of a comment I saw back when this first originally popped off. Celeste came from a family that had already been just not really functional. I'd read something about how her family was pimping her out. Her sisters or something had been like, it was either her sister or her parents who were pimping her out, just doing real crazy shit like that. And so this was a girl who was coming from a troubled home. Sadly, this is exactly how it usually happens. Predators or monsters like this know how to find at-risk children, and they are able to try to attach themselves to them because those are the kids who are more vulnerable, who are less likely to be able to understand what's going on, who are able to, who, if they're not really surrounded by love and support in their home already, they're just going to run and flock towards whatever feels like it. Celeste seems like she ended up in this dynamic with David, and sadly, this is how it turned out. Now, the police, they've also talked about having like 30 or 40 terabytes of like CP or just evidence on this man's phone that they found. I know some people I've said talk about how there could be other victims, which there very well could be, but I also have to just bring it into mind. This could very well just be from Celeste herself. It wouldn't surprise me if he was having her send nudes as often as possible, just on some more sick shit, trying to manipulate her, getting him, just using her for whatever his needs were. And yeah, this whole case has been disgusting. It's been sick. Like I said, I don't know if anyone was helping him. Why else would you buy 2 chainsaws to do all this for? And again, it's the evilness of leaving her in the back of a fucking Tesla while you try to go on a world tour. This man was a monster. This man is sick, and I honestly, I hope they are successful with the death penalty that they're seeking in this case, because this man was evil. This man was a monster. This man was sick. And the only hope that I have for this case at this point is that Celeste is able to rest in peace now, and that she's able to get the justice that she was denied while she was living. Now, the next case that I want to touch on and talk about is going to be the Boston Richie accusations that have come out recently. For those of you who don't know who Boston Richie is, he is a rapper who was signed to Future's Free Bands label. He was involved in, this is the main reason why I even knew who he was. It's because he was involved in a relationship with a young girl by the name of Tatiana Chanel. And by young, I mean, I think right now she is literally only 18. He met her when she was 16 and started dating her around that age. For those of you who were thinking already when you hear that, where the fuck are her parents at? Apparently her mom just was allowing it to happen. That's crazy enough. That's already sick, and that's already a bad enough dynamic. But to make things worse, after they had broken up, they started beefing with each other. It's gotten so bad to the point where this nigga, Boston Richie, has decided to release a diss track towards his ex. These niggas get lamer and lamer every day. What's crazy is I don't know how a nigga like this gains fans. But he's already was not trying to hide that fact. He'd already released a diss track. And so once he released a diss track, she decided to really just unleash the floodgates of exposition on this nigga. Because now we're seeing pictures. There's a whole photo album she has apparently with 65 pictures of proof of abuse from him. We've got accusations of him being involved into some real freaky, kinky shit. And the worst thing that I saw was that she accused this man of kidnapping. You see, what she accused him of was of kidnapping her from her home in Atlanta and literally forcing her on an 8-hour, I think it was 8 hours or more, car ride from Atlanta all the way to Alabama while she was naked in this car with him and 7 of the other of his boys. What the fuck? But as crazy as that sounds, it's like it's sick, because that's some horror movie type shit right there. But apparently she was just forced to be in the car. She was not allowed, I should say, to call the police, because all of his boys were always watching her. Anytime they would have to stop at a gas station or things like that, she would try to bang on the windows for somebody to help her, things like that. She was being held down. Just damn near sex trafficking, human trafficking type shit. And again, I'm led back to the question of what was he paying her mother or her parents for them to like just look the other way towards this? Was the clout worth it or anything like that? Because This Boston Richie case is just another proof of just we're not doing a good enough job of protecting these kids or protecting the youth right now. And even more so than the parents, even more so than the people that are around, I want to say that we're just not doing a good enough job as a culture or as a society, because David is one thing. David already, he might have been showing her in like videos to his Discord or to his most private fans. This nigga Boston Richie, it was public enough that I knew of him because of this relationship. To the point I have not heard a song by Boston Richie, but I knew he was dating this 16-year-old girl. I didn't know anything about where he was from, who he was signed to, but I knew this is the nigga that's dating a 16-year-old girl. And so I bring that up to ask, what are we doing? How are we allowing niggas like this to have platforms? How are we allowing niggas like this to have motion? Because it's like, again, this nigga was able to get signed. This nigga was able to be on a whole label. This nigga was able to have a whole reputation. Like, that wasn't even the main thing that I would see people talking about him for. The main thing I saw him being talked about for was him being a simp, because he was always a guy who was talking about, I'm going to buy a girl this and that in the songs. So he was getting more criticism and more flack from niggas because of the way he would try to approach dealing with women compared to the fact that he was actually dating a fucking 16-year-old. And where within that lies the actual fucking problem that I have with the culture right now, is that we're focusing so much on the wrong shit, on stuff that's unimportant, that does not actually matter in the long run. This man was a predator. This man is a predator. This is a nigga that's going after young ass girls, 16-year-olds, and has the boldness to just proclaim it and show it, and yet nobody is really holding him accountable. This nigga's still able to hold a career. And the crazy thing about it is that it might be more of the whole him liking to be pegged potentially, or the whole strap-on shit that's going to have him really lose his career, really lose his placement. It's going to be that more so than it is the fact that he was fucking with a girl that was 16. And that's the problem. That's the issue. We have a lot of people in the culture right now, a lot of us who just, we have our priorities all fucked up. And I'm gonna leave that alone for right now, because I feel like there's gonna be more of that story to come out, and I might end up having to make a full episode on it. But Boston Richie, weirdo. David, weirdo. We have a lot of weirdos in the culture right now who are just doing a lot of weirdo shit. And since we're speaking on weirdos, I guess we have to speak on somebody who might be the biggest weirdo of them all. I, of course, am talking about Drake. Now, Drake hasn't had any new accusations in terms of his weirdness or things that he does. What I want to talk about is this upcoming release of Iceman and what that might entail, and why we really shouldn't be excited for it. We really have to understand one thing about Drake. And so to start things off, I really just have to tell y'all the reason why I am, I guess, excited for this album. I'm not excited for the music, but I'm excited just for the idea of listening to it, is because this is, without a doubt, the make or break for Drake. This is the moment where we're all going to see if he's going to be able to reinvent himself successfully, if he's going to be able to shake it off, or if he is going to be fully jaw ruled, if Kendrick really 50 cented him, and if he's just done. It has been a long, long year for this man. I remember when the Iceman snippets first started coming out, when he first started doing the whole, I don't remember what it was called, just the vlogs for Iceman, for the build up to it. It wasn't hitting. It wasn't really landing. A lot of the snippets in there, the only one I remember in particular was one that he did with Central C. People weren't hot. People were not checking, or were not ready for it. And we've heard so much about the album since then. We've heard that he's redone it at least 2 or 3 times. We've heard that there might not be features on it. We've heard there's going to be a Kendrick diss. I'm at a point now where I've sort of just gotten the feeling that Drake just isn't going to be able to really get it musically anymore. Because if he is this unsure of himself, if he's this unconfident with his whole process, it shows me that even he is starting to realize that the yes men that are around him right now aren't really setting him up for success. You see, Drake, for a long time for the greater half of his career, I feel like he was able to coast. He was able to just sort of glide by based off of what his reputation was, based off the moments that he had been a part of early in his career. Because make no mistake about it, that run from not even Just Thank Me Later, from So Far Gone all the way to if you're reading this, it's too late, I'll maybe give you views. That is unequivocally great music. That is unequivocally, a couple of classics are in there, and unequivocally Drake established a legacy for himself. But it was after that when he really got complacent, when he really just started making all these overly long albums that only had really like maybe 6 to 7 songs on each one that were worth listening to. That was when it really became clear that Drake isn't really in it for the artistry anymore. He's not really in it because he loves the music. He's just trying to do this shit to make some money. And there's not a problem with that. But for me personally, I started to just see through him. I started to see through the bullshit that was Drake's whole music career. And so for me, if he is to come back and try to go back on that same type of time and that same type of I'm gonna just drop some shit and they're gonna just accept it because it's new Drake, that is when I'm gonna just be completely tuned out. That's when it's gonna be completely over and done with for me. And I feel like a lot of people feel the same way. And that's what makes this album so important and so interesting, because like a lot of people aren't really interested. A lot of us have been checked out of Drake and his music for a while now, but it's interesting because we've never seen Drake have to come back and have to try to regain momentum the way he has to right now. He is really vulnerable right now in a way that he hasn't been for the entirety of his career. And so it's really going to just be something to see if the yes men are able to stop being yes men and start telling him the truth, because he needs to hear it. He can't afford to come out with just a bloated 20 to 25 track list album that is filled with a whole bunch of filler and mid. We need Take Care Drake. We need If You're Reading This, It's Too Late Drake. We need Nothing Was the Same Drake. Anything less in this man's career is done. It's over. It's a wrap. Because this idea of him being the best rapper, of him being able to skate past and just glide by off reputation and off the legacy he had, that's over with. Niggas see through it now. They see that he hasn't been making that great of music for a while, then the music just hasn't been hidden. Like I said, you can get by when you've been a part of so many moments, when you've been a part, like so many people have made memories to this man's music, or important parts of your life, Drake's music was playing in the background. But it's not anymore. Once that haze and once that facade has been lifted, once people are able to see that you're not like us, once that has been shown, you got to really reinvent yourself, man. You really have to come correct. And I know that a lot of people may just want him to be successful because they want rap to be in a better place. They want to be able to see more rap songs in the top 10 or on the Billboard charts and everything like that. I don't care about all that. If rap loses its commercial standing in order for it to get back to being in a better spot artistically, I'm all here for it. If rap is going to lose that whole casual fan base, the people that really just listen to the big stuff or don't really give a damn about the lyrics or the real artistry that goes into this shit, again, I'm all the way here for it. Rap, ever since, I want to say, I feel like T-Shirt by Migos was when I first really noticed that rap was becoming this commercial juggernaut. But if it is getting back to a spot where it's going to be only the real shit is able to rise to the cream of the crop, I'm all here for it. It's had too much of a over capitalistic hand in this shit. We've had too much niggas trying to clout chase, trying to be just overly money hungry, and we've had too much of niggas just choosing streaming and just bloating their numbers over really giving us cohesive, just complete bodies of work. So if the fall of Drake is the fall of all of that, well then Drake, you couldn't have fallen any sooner. Now, the last quick little story I want to touch on, I'm not going to spend too much time on this. I want to talk about conservatives and this whole agenda they have of playing the victim. Now, Donald Trump was recently attempted to be assassinated for the third time in his whole life since this whole presidential campaign for him started off. And I mean that even going back to when he first announced his attempt to be reelected. We've had people try to shoot him twice. We've had just now this third one while at the White House Correspondents' Dinner. A guy by the name of Cole Thomas Allen tried to bum rush past the Secret Service, and he tried to get in there only to get tackled. He had guns on him. He had a manifesto it said where he was making it clear, I'm trying to get after the president and his whole officials. And what I don't understand is that why are people act surprised that this keeps happening? Why are we have people that are really trying to make this like it's we have to stop talking about Donald Trump the way we do? Why doesn't Donald Trump stop talking the way he does? Why don't we stop mocking the dead? Why don't we stop having these whole... It feels like a lot of conservative talking points right now are just getting more and more aggressively anti. And for those who wonder what I mean by anti, I mean they are just, like I said, you're talking down on dead people. You are calling different groups undesirables. I go back to Trump and how he talked about Latino immigrants and how they were all super predators or rapists and criminals and how they're only sending their worst. When you use this type of language to describe people, to describe anything in politics, that runs the risk of not only galvanizing and instilling hate in the people that are following you, you are running the risk of putting something in the people that are against you. What's the way I want to word this? You're putting a level of hostility, of violent retribution in them. And but by that, what I mean is when you have someone like Donald Trump who comes out so often and talks about his enemies or his political opponents the way he does, if you are on the opposite side, you are seeing that as somebody who is making it clear that there's this divide in the sand, that this is war, that it's either you or it's us type of timing. And when you do that, you open yourself up to, galvanizing some crazies out there. And they're not all going to be crazies that are on your side. These people that have been attacking Trump, these are people who have been politically radicalized, who are mentally unwell, who just have a lot of probably issues. And when you are going out there and you are telling them, like maybe in the instance of this Cole Thomas Allen guy, because I've heard he was a teacher, when you're going out there and you're talking so badly about Democrats or about liberals, when you're going out there and you're talking so bad about Democrats or things like that, and again, this is just like Charlie Kirk, when you talk so negatively about people and you use such aggressive language, don't be surprised when that aggression is turned back on you. I don't wish death on anybody, and I'm glad that Trump was not killed. I'm glad that the Vice President J.P. Vance wasn't killed. Not because I support them or anything they have going on, but because that is not going to do anything good for us in the long run. More political violence just inspires more political violence. If we kill Trump now, all that's going to happen is it's going to really make him a martyr to his sycophants that are still out there. And the people that are supporting him, we already know that they're fucking crazy. So if you make them even crazier, you're running the risk of dragging this country down into a civil war. It might not be as big of a civil war. It might not be a whole North versus South thing, but it's going to be something that we don't need. And it's going to just make the country even more vulnerable than Trump and his cronies already are. So I would like to hope that this is going to not happen again. I want to really believe that they're going to increase the security and that they're not going to allow him to be at risk. But as much as I believe that he brings this upon himself and that him and his cronies and just basically everybody on that side's whole political language right now is what's inspiring all of this anger and, attempts at violence, I also have the fear that a part of this could be just, some behind the scenes operations, that this could be stuff that they are doing on purpose, because sometimes all you have to do is just really, get people galvanized by making them think that they're under attack. I look back to when the first attempt happened, when he got up and is immediately going like this, raising his fist. That became an iconic image on the right. So it is not, and trust me, and I'm somebody that knows my history, that has done my research. Every time I remember shit like Tuskegee, every time I remember shit like COINTELPRO, I'm reminded that this is a country that they will go to some extreme measures to make sure that the agendas that they want to continue to, and that they want to go further, are pushed and that they are, expanded upon. It wouldn't surprise me, it wouldn't shock me if that assassination attempt was set up in order to, get more people on Trump's side or to help him win that election. And it wouldn't surprise me if this one was just another attempt at him to, distract people from the Epstein files or from all this other shit, to get his base to get further galvanized, and to get them to stop focusing on all of the shit that's going on that they don't like, and to focus on the fact that, hey, he's under attack, so that means that we're under attack. Political games are hard to decipher. They're hard to point out. But the sad thing is, and the crazy thing is that we just have to always keep our mind open to them, because the American government has shown that they are not above playing them, even when you think they're not. That's everything though, y'all. That has been this episode. I just had a couple of things I wanted to talk about, I wanted to touch on, and hopefully you have been able to get some type of message out of all of these jumbled thoughts that I've been throwing at you. But with all that said, I would love to hear what you have to say about any of these topics. So anything that you've heard, that you've listened to me spew on about, and you have an opinion on it, I encourage you, I implore you, comment. Let me know what you have to say, because I would love to chat with you about it. But with all that being said, I want you to like, follow, subscribe, do what you have to do so that you are up to date on everything that we're going to be dropping this time and upcoming and soon. Also, next week, expect 4 episodes. Not only are the Monday and Thursday, Friday drops coming, we got Sports Talk coming on Tuesday, and Isaiah Rashad's new album that dropped. We're going to be reviewing that on Wednesday, so be on the lookout for that. But with all that being said, this has been Kinetic Aesthetic. This has been your boy Germ. I want y'all to continue to drink a lot of water, continue to be great people. With all that being said, the alarm has went off, so y'all continue to be good people. This has been Kinetic Aesthetic. I'm your boy Germ. I'm out.